Quick. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado and further complications, I want to introduce you to the next Attorney General of Virginia. A real conservative.
Well, before I got up here, I knew there were people here. Oh, there you are. This is gorgeous. Cary, thank you all for having us. I have not been in the backyard before. I've looked at the backyard before, but I've never been in it. This is gorgeous. And I'm going to talk just long enough for the sun to get right down to where you all want to turn around and watch that. But no, I won't talk that long. But there's a saying up where I live. A former congressman used to say, "Blessed are the brief, for they shall be reelected." I never have found it in my Bible, but you know, something like that does seem to work pretty well. I know many of you, and I appreciate your help and your support getting through a nomination. And as we close in here on the end of the race, in a few minutes it'll be 37 days to the end of the line here. And really, for the Attorney General's race, it's just started to accelerate. The governor's race really started to accelerate after Labor Day, but because we're at the bottom of the ticket, it takes a little bit longer. My opponent went up on television this week in your market and in most of the markets in Virginia. It's one of the things you get to do when you have more money. He did not have a Democrat nomination contest, so he stockpiled money while we had a pretty healthy race with two good candidates, John Brownlee and Dave Foster, on our side. We had a great nomination, very energetic, very positive, almost no acrimony coming out of there. And I've been involved in 5 conventions. I've never seen it that friendly after the fact as I have this year. And that's been very beneficial. It's been a real blessing as a candidate because you don't have all these fences to mend. There's no fences to mend. And we have turned with the same message of protecting the Constitution, reining in government, and protecting life and families that we've had all along and that I've had in all my Senate races. And Tom mentioned the sales tax referendum in 2002. That was a limited government fight. How big are we going to make it? And how are we going to pay for it? And what are we going to do with that money? And for us in Northern Virginia, unlike you all down here, you had specific projects they were targeting. But you also had a full penny on your ballot. We had a half penny, and it was basically going into a slush fund for the mayors and chairs, as we call it in Northern Virginia, to just decide how they were going to spend it. And they had what I called the peanut butter plan. They're going to spread a little bit all over everywhere. So anybody could stand on a map and you could reach 5 miles in some direction or another and there'd be a project they could sell to you. Didn't matter if it affected congestion or not, but it'd be great for the people who got to spend the money. Not a great way to do transportation and a horrible way to be stewards of the taxpayers' dollars. A horrible way. And we beat it, despite the fact that it was ahead in every poll all the way to Election Day. We beat it, being outspent 12.5 to 1. And to be only outspent 12.5 to 1, I have to count the environmentalist money. They were on our side on this one, that they spent too. But we can win with the right message, just like we did in that race. In all 3 of my Senate races, I've been outspent, and I've won all 3 of them. Because people like you all who want to protect the Constitution as it was written, what a concept, protect property rights, keep government small, or get it back there, really, to be honest, protect life and families, you all have come out. And people like you have come out to help me in Northern Virginia. And that's why I'm the only Republican state senator out of 10 in Northern Virginia that's a Republican. And I grew up there. My wife grew up there. We're kind of anomalies in Northern Virginia. We grew up there and stayed. And I've seen the politics of Northern Virginia for 20 years that I've been paying attention to it. And I'm the most conservative person in the Senate to go to Richmond from Northern Virginia in my lifetime. And I'm the only one left up there. Maybe there's a correlation. I think there is. And we aren't winning in spite of being true to these principles. We're winning because of it. And we're running this Attorney General's race consistent with those same principles. And we're running against a guy who doesn't want to debate. He doesn't want to talk about issues. because the people of Virginia agree with us. They overwhelmingly agree with us on issues. And so his plan is take this 2-to-1 money advantage and just pound us into the salt. It's not a new plan. It's not all that sophisticated, but it can work if we let it. If we don't get letters to the editor, and if we aren't doing the phone calling and the door knocking to talk to people one person at a time about why these first principles are the filter that all government policy should be run through, then we're not going to prevail. But so far this year, we've had a lot of enthusiasm, we've had a lot of help, and with a lot of help from you all from here to the finish line, we can win this race. Your donations today help a lot. You know, we don't need to match my opponent's money, but we do have to be able to get our message out, and that costs money. There's just no way around that. It costs money. And so I appreciate